hearing a lot about containers, container orchestration. Rightfully so. The ability to introduce significant levels of availability in applications delivered to the business. There's no wonder why this is a huge area of interest for the world, it seems. How do you get an orchestration platform up and running? Do you simply rely on the cloud providers to do that for you? You could certainly go that route. Kind of expensive and in a lot of ways pretty complex to deal with. How do you deploy container orchestration internally? Up until now, that's been very complex. What if I told you that Nutanix customers can get that task accomplished in about 20 minutes? Let me show you how. Here we are in Prism Central. Let's walk through what is required to enable a Kubernetes cluster, also known as container orchestration. I'm going to go to the menu here, go to Services, and I'm going to go down to Karbon. We're going to select the option to enable Karbon after we read the requirements here, of course. We'll select that. Karbon, of course, being our Kubernetes implementation, if you will, Kate's implementation. And this shouldn't take very long to enable. Note that for those long-running processes, we are fast-forwarding these segments by about 8x, out of respect for your time. All right, Karbon is enabled, and we are alerted to the fact that we currently have no Kubernetes clusters. Let's first download the operating system image that will be supportive of these clusters. All right, we have an operating system image downloaded now. Took a couple minutes for that to complete. And we're now in a position to go ahead and begin the creation of Kubernetes clusters. I'll select that option here. And for this demonstration, I'm simply going to deploy development cluster. You can see that we can get far more robust with production cluster creation. And what you'll also notice as I go through the process and complete this is that we will be able to create multiple clusters after this one's up and running. All right, for my purposes, all the defaults are fine, but I'm going to go ahead and create 4 workers just for fun, just because I can. Go next. Defaults for Flannel are fine. Go ahead and provide the cluster credentials. Hopefully I got that password right. And we'll create. All right, so we are now deploying our test Kubernetes cluster. We'll let this go ahead and proceed. Eight minutes and 45 seconds into the process. We are 54% complete in the creation of the Kubernetes cluster. So we've gone through the installation of a platform, and now we are building the cluster in under 10 minutes. And so during this activity, you may be aware or you may not, here's where we're creating all of the virtual machines that will service this Kubernetes cluster. As I mentioned previously, we have the ability to create multiple on the platform, but in this case, we're creating the master, the 4 workers, the etcd, etc. No pun intended there. And we'll end up with a fully functional Kubernetes cluster after this is completed, and I'll go as far as to demonstrate that it is fully functioning. But just a few more seconds during this sped up section. Again, we're speeding these up by about 8x just to buy back some time for you. All right, 17 minutes, 45 seconds. I've been recording for that amount of time. And we now have a healthy Kubernetes cluster up and running, ready for pod deployment. In fact, let me go ahead and download the kubeconfig for this cluster. In fact, to demonstrate for you that the cluster is operational, let me bring a terminal window in. Go ahead and copy that over. All right, and then we'll do a kubectl get pods, and you can see that there are no current pods running. If I wanted to spin one up, let's see, I do a I think I have a Nginx YAML out here. All right. All right, you can see that that's now creating. Why don't we do a Right, so our Nginx pod is now running, and let's assume maybe I also wanted to have an Apache pod running, right? So I can do kubectl create so that's now creating, and shortly it will also be running. So very simple process required to get Kubernetes cluster up and running on the Nutanix platform. Thanks for taking a few minutes to check out the content on the channel. If you enjoyed that, please click the like button subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so that you get alerts anytime I post new content. Thanks again for watching, and make it a great day.